All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 8th official meetup of the TTC group. And on the agenda today is a session on mind map by me. And then we will have an informal chat and discuss some of the burning questions that we have been talking about in the group. So let's get started. So before I start, no, okay, let me begin anyways. Let me know if you can see my screen, okay? Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yes. We can see now. Yeah, I can see now.
Okay.
Yes, I am also able to see.
All right. So what's the big deal about mind maps anyway? It's something that I'm going to talk. So before I get started, let's play a small game. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a word, and then you have to tell me what's the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. Let's do that. And your word is apple.
Yeah, fruit.
Fruit. Okay. Anybody else? Red color. Okay.
Apple the company.
Apple the company. Okay. Anybody else? That's smart. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Apple pie. Okay, good. That's good going. I think the girls are going strong. Okay, guys, come on. Kashmir, Himachal. That's nice. Okay. What else? Okay, let me then go ahead and show you. So these are the few things that come to my mind the moment somebody says apple. The red colored apple, the green colored apple, another fruit called as star apple, Apple the company of course, and the products of Apple, the iPod, which I always wanted to have but never had a chance to have one. Then the Apple Park, which is a uniquely designed office of the Apple company. Then of course the iPhone, iPad. With Apple, obviously you associate somebody called Steve Jobs. Then an apple a day keeps the doctor away, like Neha said. Apple pie, like Rajni said. An apple tree, and a MacBook. So many things come to my mind, at least. Of course, I did not think of Kashmir, Himachal. That was a good one. But so many things come to my mind the moment I say apple. Now, so what is important for us is to understand the way our brain works. The moment we hear something or we start thinking about something, we try and make associations. And those associations by default are in the form of pictures, because pictures are the best way we remember things. So it is a lot to do with the way our brain processes information. We are all surrounded by a lot of information. A lot of times there is relentless information being thrown at our way, and the way we process is a little slower, but every time we try and process information, it is in the form of pictures. The moment we start getting into discussions with somebody, we think of some pictorial form of depicting it, And that's how our brain starts to understand or comprehend the ideas. For example, if I were to explain to you how an iPhone works, then you will immediately start drawing a picture in your head. You'll probably start drawing blocks and start connecting them with each other and so on and so forth. And that's exactly how it works. So a mind map is nothing but actually a pictorial representation of the associations of the thought that you have and the information that is getting processed in your brain. Okay, so it is basically an association. It is basically a map which your mind is drawing based on the information it is processing about any topic. Okay, so mind maps are absolutely no rocket science. The first or the inventor of the term mind map was rather is a gentleman called Tony Buzan. Tony Buzan, when he first started talking about it, he's of course an expert in psychology and learning science and how the brain works, and he's got memory techniques and things like that. So he does all of that, and that's how he discovered this. So he mentioned one thing very clearly, that the way we start learning about things, it tells a lot about how we are going to progress in our lives. If you look at kids, okay, kids, when you show them pictures, they tend to remember things faster. Now it is not just kids, it's the same thing with us as well. That is exactly how our brain works, and that is exactly how mind mapping also works. Okay, so mind map, like I said, is a mapping of an association of the representation of a particular term or thought that your mind has access to and is trying to process. Now, in this presentation, I have got only 4 slides, including the thank you slide, because what I'm essentially going to talk to you about is what is a mind map, which I just did. I'm also going to tell you about the various areas in your life or in your professional career, in your personal life, how you can use mind maps. And I'm going to give you an example of a mind map of myself, okay, about me, so that you have an idea of how things are happening and how to do things. So if you notice this mind map, basically there is a central theme, which is the apple. The word apple, which is right at the center, is the central theme. And then you have pictorial representations of the things that your mind is trying to process. And always the most important thing while you're drawing, while you're making a mind map, is to have curvilinear associations. Don't make straight lines when you draw mind maps, because this is exactly how our brain also tries to map onto objects. It is never a straight thought. It is a curvilinear thought. And that's how this representation basically represents the way our thought is flowing in a particular information processing mechanism. Okay, so a curvilinear approach associated with an object that it is thinking at the moment. Okay, so that's how basically mind maps are. And then you can have further associations from green apple, from red apple. You can have further associations. You might want to make an apple smoothie or things like that. Then Apple company, you may have further information as to how many employees are there and what is the demographic of the employees. That is, in which region, how many employees do they have. And then if you're taking Steve Jobs example, then you can extrapolate about him and say, okay, this is what is his education, this is what was his skill set, and between what periods did he, or when did he start Apple computers, what happened to him, how did he pass away, okay, what were the learnings, and so on and so forth. So you can have further associations from here. So this is just a first degree representation. Okay, and for every node that you have, you can have further representations, and the same pattern continues. So you can have it till an infinite level, until which you can make it granular. Okay, the information can be made granular and you understand it perfectly. Okay, so moving on, what are the use cases for a mind map? There are so many. You can start taking notes. You can make your resume with mind maps. You can do planning. Your test plans can be made using mind maps. You can make test strategy using mind maps. You can do analysis. Your test analysis can happen through mind maps. You can do ideation. Your test ideas can be represented in the form of mind maps. You can do brainstorming. You can make beautiful reports using mind maps. You can use it for something like expense management also. You can do outlining. You see, those of you who are familiar with RST, the Rapid Software Testing School of Thought, they have something called as product coverage outline. So those outlines can be drawn or are drawn using mind maps. Similarly, if you are, say, for example, attending a presentation or suppose making notes of this particular session, you can use the mind maps to make those notes. Mind maps are useful in problem solving. They are also useful in review and feedback. And of course, like I said, you can make your resume with it. So these are the various use cases. It is not limited to these. There are many more, but these are the ones which I thought are important from our perspective. Okay. Now we are going to take a look at a mind map at a much more granular level, and this is about me. Okay, so basically what you have to do, or basically when you try and do a mind map, the first thing to do is have a central theme and have a picture. Okay, start with a picture and then do curvilinear representation with pictures representing the next block of idea. So it talks about education, talks about skill, it talks about the jobs that I have done, the interests that I have, the ambitions that I have, the achievements that I have. So all of them I have represented pictorially, and I have also labeled it so that it is easier for you guys to understand it. Now, if I were to do it for myself, I would not label them. I would just leave the picture. Okay, and notice that these are all curvilinear representations, and their further nodes are also represented like that. And here you see that it is taking, not just this is the first node, the second node, the third node, and then the fourth node. So I have gone that deep in certain sections. For certain sections, I have not gone that deep. It is just to show you how we can expand a node and how we can go deeper until we say, okay, it's enough, maybe it's clear for understanding. Okay, so this is exactly how you can do it. This is my CV, basically a curtailed form of my CV. I have a full-blown mind map CV with me, which I use from time to time. I send it to some of the people. A lot of people have liked it. A lot of people say no, they are still okay with the, a long one-page format or whatever, a two-page format. So it depends on what the customer's reactions are or the employer's reactions are. So I use this technique for almost each and everything. Like you saw, there was an example of expense planning. So every month, I do my expense planning on a mind map. Of course, I do have a parallel Excel as well, but then the mind map helps me track all possible expenses that I may have. And if there are some monthly recurring ones, then it's very easy for me to track. Okay, so some points here to remember is that number one, your central theme should always be represented by a picture, because then you know exactly what you're going to think about or what you're going to expand. Okay, so if you do not have pictures available, try and look for icons. There are downloadable icons available on the internet. Okay, or my best recommendation for anybody working with mind maps is always use mind maps with pen and paper. That's my recommendation. Okay, always do that first. Then you can bring it over to your PC or something like that. So pen and paper is the first thing that I normally do, because it helps me ideate properly. It makes me think better once I start drawing and writing stuff. My drawing is pathetic, I know, but still I try. Okay, and I try and make representations, and then I go forward, and it helps me a big deal. So basically, this is it. This is what I was going to talk to you guys about. So, any questions you guys have? Hello?
So now it's fine, Brijesh.
Sorry? No questions?
I have, I have a question that you said that as far as possible you should use pictures, right? But let's say if I am testing an application, so in that scenario, how it would, means how I would be able to do that?
Okay, so see, if you are, say for example, if you are, say for example, testing an application, okay, so you're normally mobile apps, it's easy. You can take a screenshot of the app logo or something like that. Okay, you can always use logos when you don't have other pictures available. You can always use logos to represent the central theme. Okay, at least begin with that. Okay, you at least have your logo or your customer's logo, put it there and then start with it. Okay, at least the first central theme should be a picture, is what is my recommendation. Okay, if it is not possible, then write a word. Another thing, another very important thing to note is that at least till the second or the third level, you should not write more than one word. Okay, so for example, if in the mind map that I showed you about me, so when I say in my first level, when I said skill, then next to that I did not write much. I just wrote testing, I just wrote agile, I just wrote management, leadership. Public speaking, of course, it's two words, but I could have just written speaking. Okay, speaking and writing. Okay, so you have to make sure that you write only one word. You don't write more than one word. You don't write a phrase. You don't write. It is simply because it is easier for your brain to process that information if it is just one word rather than a phrase or entire sentence. I have seen people writing sentences in mind maps, which is a big no-no, as per me, because it is all about the ease of processing. Okay, so we have always got to remember that. So does that answer your question, Faiz?
Yes, yes. And thanks for that good tip, because yes, it's easy to understand that if I maybe use, if I get too descriptive, then maybe it does not serve the purpose of mind map, because we kind of try to give the overall idea about anything. So it should be as precise but as shorter in words. Yes.
Correct. Okay. So now let's look at some of the tools that we use for mind maps. I use pen and paper a lot. That's my favorite tool. Now, as far as software is concerned, there are many softwares which are available for drawing mind maps. Okay, there are free ones, there are paid ones, there are some which have paid free and paid versions. So the entire thing that I did was done on Xmind. It is free. Okay, at least a part of it is free. It has got a paid version also. You have, with the paid version, you get advantages like, okay, you can export it as a PDF and you can save it in the actual size. Otherwise, if you just do it in a picture like you saw in the slide, the font size automatically decreases. But if I show you the actual mind map, it's much bigger. The actual size is much bigger. So that value you get, but who cares, as long as you have a picture of the mind map. Okay, so that's Xmind is one. If you are trying to look at other tools, then there is there is Coggle, there is Mindmap, there is MindMaster. MindMaster is also free. It's also very nice. The greatest advantage with MindMaster is that you can collaborate. If you are working as a team, suppose 5 guys are working on the same thing, and if you want to edit the same mind map, you can share it with 5 people, and 5 people can work on it simultaneously. Okay, that's very easy or very handy when it comes to brainstorming. So that helps. Okay, apart from it, there are many other tools also. Canva is there. Lucidchart also offers mind maps, but they are all paid. Okay, but you get beautiful mind maps from there. Yeah, so those are some of the tools. Try and build some mind maps. Okay, if you are, say for example, if you are sitting at home and trying to sort out a Netflix list, you can use mind map for that also. Okay, you can do a categorization of the kind of shows that you like to watch. Okay, and if you try and draw an entire mind map, you will get a very nice picture, and then you will see that okay, actually the Netflix categorization has been done in that way. Okay, if you just do it for yourself, you will find out the same thing. You can do that. You can do the same thing for Amazon as well. Okay, if you want to do product categorization, mind map is the best way to do it. Okay, so there are lots of examples. There are a lot of things that you can do. If at work, if you want to do test planning, okay, you just write the central the project name, or draw something representing the project name as a central theme, and then you start putting the different elements of a test plan, okay, around it, and then you start putting down the text. Okay, you will see that there is a beautiful test plan that comes out of it. Okay, so you don't have to write 20 pages which nobody reads. And this test plan, you can have it as a pictorial format and put it on the soft board in your offices once you go back to offices, or you can share the soft copy with everybody and people can refer to it from time to time. You can have it as your screensaver also if you want. Okay, so yeah, so basically that was it from my side. Nothing fancy. It's pretty easy, pretty handy to use. I use it all the time in my professional and my personal life. In fact, Faiz knows about it. The idea of TTC came into my head 4 years ago. At that time, it did not have the name TTC, but the idea was there, and the entire ideation was done on a mind map. I showed it to Faiz. So that's how it works. Okay, so of course that time I did not take pictures and put it, because it simply came to my head and I just wrote down what was there. I just dumped it. If I had followed the rules, it would have been a lot more beautiful, but I just wanted it for my information, so I just wrote it down. I never knew that that I'm going to be sharing that with someone. Otherwise I would have taken care to make changes. Anyways, that was it from my side. If there are any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. You can ask me now or later as well. Anyone? A very silent crowd today. It may mean two things. One is either I was too good or I was too bad. So I am taking the first one as your response. Okay.
I think Brijesh, the session was good, and I think the good part was like you just presented a very, you can say, real world example to us, right? Maybe everyone can relate to the example. So I think that was a good part.
Thank you, Rakesh, for the feedback. So this thing about mind maps, I can only tell you this, that I've been using it for over a decade now, and I had the fortune of attending a workshop from Tony Buzan himself in the US, and that's how I got inspired and I started using it. But I have to admit that I have not followed the rules that he has taught always. But at least I have the concept, I have the idea. But at least when I am trying to teach somebody, I try and share the rules. But it's up to you again as to how best you use it. So yeah, it has helped me a great deal. And I'm sure if you guys start using it, then you will realize the potential of that. Okay, now that we are done with that topic, we have another 26 minutes remaining with us. Now I want to.
Brijesh,
Yeah,
sorry,
Fred.
sorry to interrupt. There is a question in chat. There is question in chat.
Chat, okay. I was hoping. Can we use mind maps for creating test scenarios? Yes, of course. Any example of test plan you have? That is from Nia. Well, I have examples of test plan, but unfortunately, I can't show you those mind maps because they are all proprietary. And I mean, I am bound by NDAs, lots of NDAs for the kind of customers that I work with. So unfortunately, I cannot show you any, but I can definitely help you in creating one. Maybe we can collaborate and prepare one and then share it with everybody in the group. I think that should be a good idea. Now, can we use so answering Rajni's question? Yes, Rajni, we can definitely make use of a mind map for creating test scenarios. If you notice, if you remember in the slides I showed you, that we can do it for ideation. By ideation, what I mean is you can put in your test ideas, you can write your test scenarios there, and obviously you have to make it very concise. Don't write paragraphs, don't write an entire sentence. You can just write a couple of words representing your idea first, and then from there, in the next node, maybe you can write one sentence if it makes sense to you. For example, check-in log. For example, just you can say login. Okay, login can be one scenario that you're going to be testing, or say password, or say shopping cart, or something like that. So you can list out your ideas like that, and then you can go ahead and expand on it. So how can we use mind map to write down product requirements? That's a good one. Who can answer that? Rakesh, you want to take a stab at it? Product requirements using mind map?
No.
No? Okay. Anybody? Well, for product requirements as such, yes, you can definitely use a mind map, but it is not one of the most recommended solutions that I would say, Barney, because with requirements we have an expectation that it has to be more descriptive, and by nature mind maps are not that descriptive. That's one reason why we would want to avoid mind maps for requirements. But yeah, of course we can, just like we list out scenarios, we can list out, for our understanding, we can say start listing out user needs, and if we can represent a user need by just one word, then you can then extrapolate it to make a complete requirement. So say for example, the customer prefers a particular color, okay, in the background. So you may just say not one word but two words, say background color. Okay, so background color becomes a requirement, and then you can go ahead further and say, okay, they wanted a particular shade of blue, say for example, what is that, turquoise or teal or whatever. Okay, I'm just learning all these colors because I know only 7 colors, but fortunately or unfortunately, my better half knows 15,625 colors. So I have to learn all of them. So, so I'm trying to learn. So yeah, we can have requirements in that format, or for example, we can say performance. Okay, so performance may be one of the requirements, but then what exactly with performance? So you can say, okay, response time or latency or refresh time or things like that. So you can note all those values. So you can actually list out requirements, but since people prefer detailed requirements, I would not recommend mind maps for listing down requirements. You can, but not recommended. Any other questions? No? Okay. So yeah, I want to go back to one of the discussions that we were having. And yesterday, Sunny asked me what would be my approach to test analysis. And I saw some very interesting comments. And I would like to take that example where, somebody mentioned about, or I think, was it you, Gaurav, who gave that example of the Puma certificate of authenticity posted by the by the seller. So when I'm doing my test analysis, the first thing that I will have to do is to make sure that I understand what. So if there is an anomaly, I think it's an anomaly. So I'll start first by asking, okay, what is the effect that it is causing? Okay, who all is it getting affected? First of all, what is it? Okay, then second, okay, why is it happening? Of course, that we will analyze. But then who all is getting affected by that? Okay, how big is the impact? Because if the people getting affected by it is the end user and they are straight away losing money, then there is a big question. Okay, if the end user is not getting affected financially, then maybe the impact is lower, but then we will have to look at it as to who has caused it. So in a situation where the seller is doing this, the seller is obviously well within his rights to probably post a certificate of authenticity to make sure that people know that he is selling original items and not counterfeit, just for gaining the trust of the customer, which is an important factor and which is definitely one of the quality parameters that people look at these days. So it is definitely a question of whether you want to evaluate the product from that perspective. But how much weightage do you want to give to that? It certainly depends. It has to be a collective decision coming after discussions with all your stakeholders. And if they tell you though that is an important point that needs to be looked at, then you pay importance to it, mark it as a bug if required. Otherwise, you don't mark it as a bug. Okay, so the choice of marking it as a bug or not, in my opinion, does not lie just with you. It lies with the entire team. So when you analyze, you have to look at what the impact is. You have to look at who are getting impacted. You have to look at what are the factors that are involved in that result coming to you when you are trying to execute a test case, whether it is the environment which is causing the issue, whether you have a poorly designed test case. Okay, all of these factors will come into play, and you have to keep asking questions from that perspective. Do you have sufficient domain knowledge? Okay, that is a very important factor. So I will just give you another example of what is happening in one of my projects. So my project deals with electron microscopes. Just to give you a brief understanding of what they are, electron microscopes are large microscopes which are almost 2-story in height. Okay, and there, on top of that microscope is an electron gun. And when you place the object on the on the plate, the electron gun shoots electron beams onto that, and that electron beam is shot at very high speed, and that, because of the reflection that happens, the object is magnified 10,000 or 20,000 times, and that's how you can see it. So it is claimed that some of the electron microscopes are so capable that if you place them on moon, and if you look through those microscopes, you can actually see the veins of the leaves on planet Earth. Okay, so that is how powerful they are. From the moon, you can see the veins of the leaves. So that is the kind of technology that we are dealing with. So right now, in one of the projects that I'm working, they are doing something called as connected microscope. So it's an IoT implementation. Just like we have connected cars, they are making connected microscopes, and this will allow a seamless communication from the microscope to the end user and back and forth, and you would not need human intervention. So that's the whole idea. Now, in trying to do this entire implementation, what has been observed is that the gateway, which is placed in between, is causing its own trouble, and we need a tool to monitor the gateway itself. Okay, the gateway is supposed to be controlling the entire back and forth communication, but you need something to manage and monitor the entire gateway itself. Now, we saw some anomalous results while tracking the behavior of these electron microscopes, and that made us think about our environment itself. That's when we realized that this is a very important factor. So that's how closely you have to look at all the tests. Whatever you see as a test result need not be a bug. Okay, you have to always go back to your test cases and look at your test cases if you have documented test cases. If you do not have documented test cases, if you have a test scenarios written, try and understand as to what your objective was with that test case, that you have arrived at such a result. Okay, discuss it with people, discuss it with developers. That's most important. Try and understand as to what has been the implementation, what is the logic or what is the idea that has gone behind that particular implementation, and you are seeing certain behavior. So that is my perspective. Too bad Sunny is not in the call. Otherwise, he asked me this question, so I thought, okay, since I'm talking, anyways, I will give you this perspective also. So I think all in all, we are having some very good discussions in the group. Now, is there something else you guys want to talk about? We still have 14 minutes. No one? If no one has, then I have a question for all of you. I'm waiting. Guys?
No, I don't have anything to discuss. I think you can proceed with your question.
Okay. All right. So my question is, how many of you have seen all the episodes of Tester Speak?
I think I have seen quite a bit, so not exactly sure about the count, but I think I have seen most of them.
Okay. So Rakesh, a question for you. Follow-up question. How many episodes have been released till today?
But that was not in the syllabus, right? You only asked for
No,
one
no.
question.
I'm including it in the syllabus. I control the syllabus. Okay, so
Yeah. Okay. So maybe more than 12, I think. Since I'm not sure about the exact count, but yeah, more than 12 maybe.
who knows the exact count?
Are you also checking the count on your mobile?
Who?
answer
not
in chat. Someone
Rajni
is
says
answer in chat. Rajni has answer in chat. Yes.
yeah, Rajni says 14, but is that correct?
Since that is more than 12, so I'll say that it should be correct.
Well, that is so. When I say Tester Speak, there are two series of Tester Speak running: Tester Speak
Right.
and Tester Speak. Okay, so I mean, when I say Tester Speak, it covers both. So totally, there have been 24 episodes.
So yeah, more than 12, so I'm right. Thanks, Brijesh.
14 plus 10 and 18 for WIT. Gaurav is just very funny. Very smart, Gaurav. So that was the easiest thing for you guys to do. Well, the reason why we gave a break of a few weeks, or I gave a break of a few weeks, was for you guys to catch up. And if for whatever reasons, I know you, all of you are having work, having family to deal with, things like that. But for whatever reasons, if you guys don't watch, don't give response, don't ask questions to the people who get interviewed, or don't interact with them, or don't interact, or don't take any value out of it, then for number one, my motivation goes down for doing something like that. Number two is sooner or later you are also going to appear on that show. Okay, so think from that perspective. Okay, that you appear on the show and then nobody bothers to check out your episode. Okay, I watch it 5 times maybe, because of course when I do an interview, I watch it before I do the editing, the unedited version. Then I edit it and then I watch it again, and then I upload it on YouTube, and then I watch it again. So it makes it 3 times, 4 times anyways, and then I watch it again. Okay, after maybe a day or so, just to see the response. Okay, so my motivation level goes down drastically. But also think from that perspective, what will happen once you appear on the show and nobody watches the episode?
Makes sense.
Okay. Start thinking from that perspective. Okay, and the same thing applies to WIT. Now, uh, the reason why we started WIT, or why the thought of WIT came, was because let's be very practical. Okay, how many of us have seen uh, women leaders in our testing space? How many are there? We can probably count them on our fingers. The number is so less. So while we all talk about, we are all celebrating Vijayadashmi today. By the way, uh, uh, I'm wishing everyone very happy Dashera. Okay, while we are celebrating Vijayadashmi today, it is important for us to, give that level of respect to the women around us. Okay, the women that work in our offices, in our homes. Okay, so we have to do that, and that was the whole purpose, to bring out the best in these women so that they can become leaders, they can inspire us. And these a lot of these women who are coming out on that show are first time speakers. Okay, so it is important for us to understand what is happening, what is the background. So if we do not watch their episodes, if we do not encourage them, if we do not ask follow-up questions with them, or take their discussions further, then again the motivation level drops, right? So put yourself in their shoes and start thinking from that perspective. I know that I'm saying this to you, but this is being recorded, so hopefully people who come in for watching the mind map, hopefully they stick on a little longer and watch this. And for the ladies in the call right now, you've got to, Barmi, you have been on the show. Neha, you have been on the show. Okay, how did it feel? How did you feel, Barmi, after coming on WIT and watching your own episode? Divya is there, Riddhi is there. I mean, how did you all feel?
Yes, Brijesh, that's really great. And I have speak for the first time, so I really feel good, like I can speak.
And how did you feel? How did you feel after seeing yourself on YouTube?
It's really great.
Okay,
I feel really happy.
Neha.
Yeah, actually, it was really great because it was my first video ever, and it gives a lot of visibility to the people around. Also, I posted in my organization, so a lot of them appreciate that. And yeah, actually, I get to know a lot of people around in LinkedIn, who are into testing field, and I got a lot of connection requests, got to connect with them. I can participate in a lot of discussions and a lot of information actually. So it was great going for me, and thanks for that opportunity.
Divya, what was your experience?
Hi, Brijesh. How are you? My
I'm good.
experience was nice. Actually, after making that video and when it was published, then I came to know like I can speak, and there are so many questions coming on my mind and as well as answers. Like I can add up those things also, like my experience with respect to testing, and there were things which was not in the video, but it was keep coming in my mind after making that video. So it gave me an idea like in future also if I can make video. I mean that gives me a confidence where I'm in a position that yeah, I can make videos on public level because I have things to speak, but sometimes I got afraid of the judgment. I mean, maybe the way I'm presenting the content may not be correct or may not be okay with other ones. So that time I felt good because no one criticized me that way. So that was a point where I get an idea like yeah, I can stand and making videos. So thank you so much, Brijesh, for that.
You're most welcome. Well, the credit should go to Himani, of course. Riddhi, how did you
Yeah, yeah.
feel?
Yeah, Brijesh, actually, it was good. It was my first time, so after that, like I feel like I can do much more than this. And yeah, means before that, I never tried these things. So I really felt that in future also I can mean speak up on big platform and yeah, serious, that's good.
Awesome. So you see four speakers here in the call today. All of them first time speakers. All of them felt good. So the point is that more and more of you should come on the show. You should nominate yourself. I posted a couple of days ago that if you really know somebody, then you should nominate yourself if you have not done it yet. Others can nominate their you know colleagues if they are in the group. Okay, and for everybody else, it is very important to watch these episodes because for these first time speakers, if you watch it and if you give them some feedback, it does a world of good. Okay, the feedback may be a little negative also, but it's for future improvement, right? If you say okay, like for example, I had a feedback, I think Neha, I shared it with you, right? That when you were talking, you were looking at the screen and not looking at the camera. This was my feedback for you, right, Neha?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yes. So next time when you do a video, you will look at the camera, which means your people will see you actually talking to them. Okay, so that is how you improve. You've already done so well. Now you take it to the next level. Okay, so that's the whole idea, and that's why it's very important for you guys to, for everybody to understand that okay, people are coming on these shows, Test to Speak or WID, and then in future also there are a lot of plans that are coming up. Okay, it is important for you guys to take time and watch these videos. We spend a lot of time watching Netflix and I don't know what, Prime, or right now IPL is going on. A lot of time is spent there. Spend a few minutes watching these WIT videos. You will first of all learn something. Secondly, you will appreciate somebody coming and speaking. You will give them feedback. You will encourage them. So do that. I mean, that's probably a rant from my side, but I just wanted to make it clear. And people who have participated, You must give confidence to other speakers. You must highlight your own work. I mean, I was pretty impressed the way Neha went after, and she pushed it in her organization. People watched it and gave feedback there also, which is really nice to know. Okay, that's exactly what you need to be doing. You have to share your stuff. Okay, you have to feel happy that okay, I have done something. I'm proud of what I've done. Let the world see it. Okay, it's not about worrying about somebody else being judgmental about your performance. It doesn't matter what other people think about your performance or about you coming on the show. It doesn't really matter. Yes, if they have got certain constructive feedback for you to improve, obviously you will take it. Okay, if some people have a negative feedback, well, it's their wish, right? So let's not worry about it. So I think we have just 1 minute left. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Can we just switch on your cameras so that somebody can take a quick picture? Nobody interested in the picture today? It can't be too bad. I don't think people are in their pajamas at this hour. Okay, I see Gaurav, Faiz, Burmi, I see Rakesh now, Divya, Neha, yeah. Riddhi, what about you? Gayatri, Rajni, Ravi? I understand you guys have woken up late on a Sunday morning. It's fine. Okay, not everybody is like me waking up at 4:30 on a Sunday morning, which is okay, which is absolutely fine. Rajni and Gayatri, we're still missing you guys. Faiz has already taken 1 or 2 screenshots, haven't you, Faiz? You're very smart. I know you, so I'm not taking any. Okay, because I get a presenter's view, which is not very pleasant as a screenshot. Okay. Anyways, thank you guys for joining. I would not like to hold you longer. Thank you so much for doing this. I enjoyed talking to you. I just hope that you guys are able to spread more awareness about the videos that we are doing. Hi Rajni, we finally see you. Okay, and thank you so much. Hey, hi Gayatri. Okay, so yeah, so thank you so much for attending the session. Thank you for all your encouragement for me, and I hope you guys will have something to present in the subsequent weeks. We have in the next week, I think we have Rakesh. It is you, right? Next week?
Yes, right.
Rakesh is appearing next week, and next week I have a very interesting tester speak session. So that's going to be very interesting. It's going to be fun. And for that, because of the time zone change, I will have to record the interview at 4:30 a.m. my time, which makes it even more interesting. So, so let's see how that goes. In fact, the next 3 episodes are really interesting. Just to spoil the suspense, all 3 of them are women. So it's going to be more fun. I'm going to ask them some very tricky questions. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I'll probably go back to bed.
Thank you. Wish you all the best.
Yeah.
Bye.
Happy Dussehra, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, happy Dussehra.
Happy Dussehra, everyone.
Bye-bye.